David here with Figboot on pens. One of the things that I really enjoy about having this channel is the ability to take a closer look at some very special high-end fountain pens. It's one of those pens that I will be sharing with you today, and that is the Graf von Faber Castell Pen of the Year for 2021. On an annual basis, since 2003, Graf von Faber Castell has produced a limited edition pen of the year. When they first started with this series, the focus was on unique materials like snakewood and amber and jade. They then moved on to themes around European palaces. Lately, the themes have related to cultural groups like the Vikings and Romans and samurai, including last year's model, which I had the opportunity to review, which was called Sparta. That cultural theme continues with the pen of the year for 2021, which is called Knights, and has been inspired by medieval knights. What I'm going to do today is go over the parts and features of the Knights, talk about what I care for and what I don't care for. I'll show some measurements as well as some size comparisons. A big thank you goes out to Graf von Faber Castell for providing this pen on loan for review. So, let's start with some measurements, and then we will take a closer look at this extraordinary pen. The pen arrives in this very large box. When you open it up, everything is efficiently and safely packed, but I thought it was interesting that the pen doesn't arrive in the actual box. The pen is in the smaller white box. And then finally, we have a very nice piano lacquered box, and the pen is contained within a nice cloth pouch. Now here's a promotional photo for the box that shows it off in its entirety better than I can, but let's take a closer look here. When you open it up, here is your pen displayed in a nice showplace tray. Now I'm showing this kind of sideways just because it fits in the screen better here. Your pen is displayed in this very nice tray. It says Graf von Faber Castell Pen of the Year 2021 Knights, and a nice design of a knight on a horse here, and a nice display for your pen. But this box has a feature that I complained that other large boxes don't have, and that is the ability to hold more than one pen. You could pull this tray out, and underneath you have a very nicely crafted tray which could hold up to 6 large pens. Now, this tray is covered in either leather or faux leather, but it just feels very solid, very well built, and it's easy to pull it out with these little ridges on the side. Underneath the tray, there is a very nice manual here with some great stained glass artwork and a lot of information about how this pen was made and the inspirations behind each of the elements. We also have some warranty information and a certificate of authenticity. In regard to these trays, you can also trade them around. So if you wanted to put the display tray in first, and then the one that holds 6 pens, that you can put this one here on top, so that you can have a number of pens right here on top. And this tray can accommodate large pens. How large? Well, it is the first commercial storage that I have seen that can accommodate both a Namiki Emperor as well as a Danny Trio Genkai. And while we're at it, we might as well show some size comparisons. This is what it looks like with the Graf von Faber Castell. And here it is with another Graf von Faber Castell pen that you'll see reviewed here in the near future, which is a Bentley Barnado. And that's what it looks like in comparison to the pen of the year. And in regard to a couple other pens, here it is with a Mont Blanc 149, a Pelikan M1000, and then finally, my latest acquisition, something that I'm really excited about, which is a Leonardo Momento Zero Grande, and this is called the Frosted, which is an exclusive pen for the Roman pen retailer Stylo and Style, S-T-I-L-O and S-T-I-L-E. I'm not sure how you pronounce that in Italian, but I'm saying Stylo and Style. But it's a gorgeous pen. I just love the style, love the material, and that's what it looks like in comparison to the Graf von Faber Castell. Okay, how about we take a closer look at this very intriguing pen? This is the Graf von Faber Castell Pen of the Year for 2021 and is called Knights. This is a limited edition of 375 fountain pens as well as an additional 125 roller balls. As I mentioned previously, it is inspired by medieval knights. Training knights would begin at the age of 7. It took 14 years for someone to become a knight. They would be required to study and master things like hunting and riding, loyalty, spirituality, and martial arts. Their training would also include things like dancing and swimming and climbing. So noble behavior was considered just as important as fighting prowess. Upon completion of training at the age of 21, the men would receive the accolade of becoming a knight. As you saw in the measurements, this pen is heavy. It is 100 grams in total. It feels substantive and very solid, and it just feels like a quality pen. Let's take a look at the end of the cap. On the end, it is adorned by the heraldic cross. It's also known as the Cross of Hope, as it was considered a symbol of hope in the Middle Ages, which were from about the year 500 to the year 1500. Encircling the design, it is engraved with Graf von Faber Castell. The finial is flared slightly, which is traditional for Graf von Faber Castell pens, and it contains these little grooves, which are designed to resemble the battlements of a castle tower. Battlements are the defensive architecture feature in which there was a parapet with intermittent gaps so that archers could shoot arrows and maintain a level of protection. The color of the cap and the trim is called anthracite gray and has a nice matte finish to it, produced with a PVD titanium coating. The clip is articulated, get a good look at that, and flexible enough for ease of use. And then we have the main feature of the cap, which are these very cool wavy lines. The waves of this material are inspired by the chainmail armor that knights would wear. Here's an example of the interlocking rings of chainmail. Chainmail could be extremely heavy and consisted of around 20,000 steel rings, but it was an essential element to a knight since it provided protection while also allowing for mobility and movement that full suits of armor at times lacked. Then we have the cap band, which says Graf von Faber Castell, and then on the backside it says handmade in Germany. And then there is a small rounded step down to the barrel. This barrel is very cool. It has an awesome Damascus texture that has a very interesting tactile feeling to it. This is supposed to represent the knight's sword. These grooves here on either side of the pen represent what's called a fuller on a sword, which is often used to lighten a blade without affecting its strength or its durability. While I love this barrel, it's one of the main issues I have with this pen. Let me read here from the marketing material. It says, when discussing the barrel and Damascus steel, its extraordinary properties are achieved through repeated welding and folding of different types of steel, which also produces the typical iridescent and unique surface. The barrel of the Pen of the Year for 2021 is made of steel with just these characteristics. Thanks to the resulting individual pattern, each writing instrument is truly unique. Okay, now it's a little vague, but I think it's just marketing speak. I don't believe the barrel is actual Damascus steel, but it has the characteristics of Damascus steel, which is the patterning. You can see here in the close-up that the patterning is achieved by laser engraving. You could see the little telltale lines at the edge of some of the patterns. If it was actual Damascus steel, and on a quick side note, I understand that there are debates over what folks are making today and if it's actual Damascus steel as it was historically made, but that's not really important to this pen. But if it was actual Damascus steel, the patterning would be flush with the pen. It wouldn't be raised like this. While I really like this barrel and enjoy the look and the tactile feeling, I think what could have been even cooler was if they utilized actual Damascus steel, or at least the modern techniques. Now, who knows? I'm not a blacksmith. I've just watched plenty of Forged in Fire shows, but I've seen what's possible to create. Maybe the thing here that's while actual Damascus steel looks cool, the look could be rather inconsistent. Here's an example of a pattern on a 13th century blade from Persia. And here's the patterning on a more modern Damascus knife. By laser engraving the pattern on this metal barrel, it does add a bit of quality control to the process, so that might be the reason. To be clear, I like this barrel in its current form, and I think it looks and feels fantastic. I just wonder what a product would have looked like with a different technique, and feel it potentially would have added another aspect of authenticity to this already amazing pen. The barrel tapers down slightly until it reaches the end portion here, which is a blind cap that we'll take a look at here in a bit. The edge of the blind cap has these slats mirroring those on the top of the cap. And then the end is adorned with a red faceted garnet stone with what is called a sunray cut. I really like that deep red. It looks really nice. The cap twists off with a single twist, revealing this 18 karat gold ruthenium coated nib. The nib is available in fine, medium, broad, and double broad. While I feel the look of the Graf von Faber Castell nibs is very clean and classy with the family crest and the crown logo, maybe it would be nice on these Pen of the Year models to have a more unique nib stamping that fits in with the theme of the pen. Now, it is stamped with Pen of the Year, but for example, Montblanc has many unique nib stampings for their limited edition models. It'd be nice to see on these Pen of the Year models as well. And here's a look at the plastic feed. I am really liking the section on this pen. It's metal with a brown PVD coating and is designed to resemble the leather straps on the grip of a sword's hilt. I feel it does a great job of doing just that. While the section is metal, the coating and spiraling grooves do a fantastic job of helping you maintain a grip on this hefty pen. After the section, we have a very nice ink window. I feel the ink window is size proportionate to this pen. It's large enough to give you a good look at your ink situation, but it's not so large that it distracts from the overall look of this pen. After all, this is supposed to be a sword with the hilt and then the blade. Then there is some metal threads and a stair-step transition to the barrel. This pen is a piston filler. I mentioned the blind cap previously. The end unscrews here, and underneath you have the piston knob. It does incorporate a ratcheting mechanism to prevent you from damaging the piston knob by overextension. The grooves here help you maintain a decent grip on this metal knob, and on the end it is laser engraved with Pen of the Year and then the number of the pen. Let's go ahead and put that back on here. The cap does post. The metal cap is very heavy, and if you press it down, it does post securely, but with the weight, it does significantly throw off the balance of this pen, so I would recommend using it unposted. Now, the pen alone is still very heavy, but I feel the weight is distributed evenly enough that it can be used comfortably, even for longer writing sessions. It's not overly cumbersome. It just feels really good in the hand. It feels solid and very well constructed. This pen is not messing around. The Graf von Faber Castell Pen of the Year Knights is available through several retailers. I've seen the pricing vary from about $4,800 to $5,200. Now, when you are considering a pen in this price range, I have said this many times, but you are not just buying a pen. Yes, you are paying for the physical materials, but it is like art. Placing a value on things of this nature can be somewhat subjective. Having the opportunity to spend time with a number of pens in this price range, I will say that I feel the price for this pen is warranted. It is a pen for a very limited market, but for what it brings to the table, this pen backs up that price, in my opinion. It has a theme, but the theme is not over the top. It doesn't have abs like the Sparta model from last year. I feel it does a really good job of visualizing that theme in a multitude of elements that really flow together nicely to create something I feel is one of the best Pen of the Year models Graf von Faber Castell have produced. Thanks again go out to Graf von Faber Castell for providing this pen on loan for review. I'm not able to provide a writing sample since this pen will eventually be sold to a very fortunate customer and it needs to stay in pristine condition. While writing samples are typically ideal in reviews, I felt it was still worthwhile and interesting to show you this pen without one. I greatly appreciate the opportunity to get a closer look at this remarkable pen and share my feelings with you. Until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.